Welcome guys, Gio here, hope you're doing great. And in this video I want to show you another build for Wartales, specifically a ranger build with the Cutthroat specialization. And before we jump into the build details, gameplay and all that cool stuff, I want to say a couple of words about this build. It's one of the most powerful builds in the game with the potential to eliminate entire enemy squads in a single round. Previously, I've heard a lot about this build on YouTube video comments and Steam build guides and so on, but I've personally never made it really work as people would describe. I've only seen one video about this, and essentially the guy has just cheesed the game with the sociopath trait, where you can increase the amount of damage that character can do. But as for the regular actual builds that can be replicated, I was never able to do that until recently, and this is that build. As always, we are using crafted gear to make the build as accessible as possible, because that's the point of these guides, so you guys can replicate that in your gameplay and as easily as possible. Apart from that, I am playing on expert difficulty, so if you're playing on expert or anything below that, this build will work just fine. And looking at the gear now, compared to previous videos, you might notice that this gear looks a bit different. That is because it's the new level 15 gear that Shiro Games has released, and this is crafted gear. And if you look at the weapon, you might say that, hey Gio, this looks like a legendary weapon, and how is that craftable? Yes, you can craft this dagger, and I will show how to do this in the details, but the point is that like 99% of this gear is crafted, so you can easily replicate that in your gameplay and reap the benefits from the build. So our game plan is to check the gameplay first, so you guys have the idea how the build plays out, and if you enjoy that, if you like that, then we will jump into the details, food buffs and all the stuff to kind of make sense how this build works. Rangers are very versatile classes in the game, and you can play them in any number of ways, but this one is specifically that I'm using and I have come up with, so you guys can see how I approach this build. So that's enough of an intro, let's jump right into the action. So this is a battle scenario. We are up against the bandits. They are level 16. They outlevel us, and we are playing on expert difficulty. And right now I'm going to try to show you guys how the build plays out and eliminate the entire squad. And during this process I will explain how the build works. I will just drop these guys here in a separate corner, so we can just focus on the enemies. We have a couple of things when we talk about this build that is going for us. First is the passive, which is Deadly Contract, and it is applying fragility to 2 random enemies, and when they are dead, it is going to transfer this debuff to the nearest enemy. So it is kind of bouncing off from the enemy to enemy, and we have to prioritize the targets with this build that have this buff applied, because we want to deal as much damage as possible. Second thing that we have is Instinctive Throw, which is going to reset our movement, and it will allow us to kind of move further away and destroy enemies in that way, the entire squad. Also, it is dealing damage, and dealing the damage will give us some benefits. First is that we have Pirate's Lucky Charm, which is going to increase our crit damage. After every time we deal the damage, we use the skill. And we also have the Well Fed, which is coming this buff from the food that is essentially free to get, so you don't have to worry about. And the entire idea about this build is that we want to kind of build the momentum, and every time we deal damage or kill the enemies, our damage potential is going to increase and increase and increase, and we are going to become more and more powerful. So eventually we will be able to use this skill, which is Frenzy. And as you see, it I have upgraded version, and it has this nice perk. This skill can be used in this round. So essentially our idea here is that we buff ourselves so much and we gain so much momentum that using this single skill, single strike, will just eliminate enemies. So as I've said before, we have to prioritize targets that have the fragility, and to do that, we have to check the enemy squad and see who has the fragility. And ideally, we want to start with the easy or like the targets which have a light armor, so we can quickly kill them and then move on to the next enemy, so we can easily build up momentum. Now, to destroy the entire enemy squad, we need a bit of skill and luck as well. If they have a lot of heavily armored enemies, it's not going to be easy to destroy them all, because this skill itself is dealing really a meager amount of damage without the buffs. So without further ado, let's jump right into the action. And what I really want to do now is come here and start using these skills that we have available. And I just like to start with the aim, and when I'm going to use the skill, look what is happening. First, we are getting the rage stacks, which is increasing our damage, and also we are increasing the stat of Pirate's Lucky Charm, which is increasing critical damage. Right now it's 5%. So now we are dealing more damage than before. And after every such attack, what I want to do is to come here and check if I'm able to destroy the enemy. Yes, I am. Now we can hit this guy and kill him. But what I also want to do is that the way the deadly contract works is that whenever the enemy with the fragility dies, it is going to bounce off to the next enemy that is closest to it. So when this guy is dead, I want to be positioned closely to the other enemy, so then instinctive throw will kick in and I will hit this guy. I think that is a good range. Yes, if I position myself there, it should just work and hit this guy. So right now I'm going to use this, and I'm only using this because I see clearly that I'm able to destroy this guy. Otherwise it's not going to reset itself, so we have to be careful there. So let's hit this guy. You see the fragility applied. We shoot the instinctive throw, and this guy has already lost the health, so we have to take advantage of that. And also this guy has medium armor, but that's okay, we will be able to destroy him. Also another thing is that we have the Brave's oil going for us, so we are going to use that as well, so our skills do not cost anything. So now we can use this throw, which we should use because we have to take advantage of everything that we have. So we will just throw this, and now fragility moved on to this guy. Next, I want to be careful with eliminating these enemies because they are kind of apart from each other, and I want to make sure that I am able to kind of move there. So I have to keep some of the skills there. So let's move there, and first let's eliminate their leader. And I'm not able to kill this guy yet, but what I will do is that I'm going to use another skill. Maybe this one. Let's see how that goes. Yes, that is nice. And as you guys see, we are accumulating rage stacks and Pirate's Lucky Charm, which is increasing. So every time we attack, we are increasing our damage. And also we have Brave, which is stackable, and every time we kill the enemy unit, our damage is increased by 10%. So as we move on, and if we play our hand right, we are getting stronger and stronger. And this is coming from our passive, I think from the path bonus from power and might or whatever. It's one of the path bonuses if I'm not mistaken. So now let me try this. Yeah, this guy will be dead. We have movement reset. We are cool. So yeah, we can eliminate this guy, which is fine. And now you see these two guys have fragility, which is nice. Now let's move there. And what I want to do is I want to stay there And first let me check if I can kill the guy. No, I cannot kill the guy, so I'm going to use the... Yeah, maybe let's use the low blow and see how much damage we do, because they have the wrongdoer and I think we want to take him last. So let's come here. No. Now, do I want to use that skill or another one? You know what? Let's use the taunt. Just another skill. We have to be mindful of how we are using our skills. And boom. This guy is gone. Now, wrongdoer has a fragility. Now, here's the thing. So I have to make sure that whenever I destroy this guy, I have some movement to get there. So I have to be careful. Yes, now I have to use some skill so I can kick in with the instinctive throw. So I'm going to use this axe. Yes, then instinctive throw kicks in, nice. And now I have movement reset, which will allow me to come here. And then let's see what we can do. So now we will get there. Nice. Now do I want to use Wrath? And then maybe go for him? I don't know. Let's keep the Wrath for now. Let's kill this guy. Okay. Now, who is next? Yeah, this guy is next. So we are going to come here. Stand there. Now we are a bit of low on our skills. Let's see if we can. No, we can't. Let's do this. Nice. Now we will kill this guy. It will transfer the fragility to this one, and then we will do instinctive throw on this one, and it will reset the movement. Nice. Kill this guy. Throw the dagger. Nice. Then we can... Yes. Okay, now we are really powerful. So rage stacks are kind of capped and limited, but Pirate's Lucky Charm is going up. So we are unlimited there. So now I come here. So it's kind of... You see the pattern here, right? So you kind of bounce from one enemy to another, and you carefully select your targets. That's the entire idea. So now I kill this guy, and the fragility has bounced off to this. Now we have galvanized. Ooh, now we are talking. Okay. Now look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the Wrath. So we finish this guy. Now we have galvanization. Now we have Fury. Now we have Brave 40%, Rage stacks, and Pirate's Lucky Charm at 90%. So now I come here, and I should be able to just one-shot him. Oh well, I'm not. But that is okay, because I can use the main skill, which deals tons of damage, which is fine. No, we're not gonna let you go. And yeah, just instinctive throw killed us. So yeah, that's it, guys. That is the battle, and it's pretty insane how powerful this build is. So yeah, we are just now going to explain everything and all the gear choices and then the entire equipment. But essentially what you can do is that you have a potential to eliminate the entire squads in a single turn, and we are only using the crafted gear, nothing fancy. We're not cheesing anything or breaking game in any way. But be careful though, because certain types of enemies, for example in pits, if they do have like a really high amount of health or guard or stuff, this kind of thing can be difficult if all the enemies have the heavy armors and stuff, so then you won't be able to pull this off. But more often than not, that is possible, and now you guys have the idea how to do this. So let's jump into the details of the build. So let's start with the build details, and I want to focus on the attributes first. And as always, we want to have willpower 15 base value without bonuses and stuff, and then we also want to have movement up to 20, so we are able to move around and be flexible, as it is especially important with the rangers and with this build to kind of be able to run around the map. And the rest really goes into the critical hit, because we want to have a solid 100% chance, and every point that we spend there is really well used towards that goal. As for the traits, if you're starting from beginning or if you are hiring from tavern, you can specify this trait, which is fantastic. Bloodthirsty, it gives you +3 critical hit, so we can have a solid 100% critical hit chance without any extra food buffs and stuff. So build can work on its own. Now let's move on to the equipment. And it's an interesting choice of things. Let's start with the armor, and it is a really new armor that was released recently, and it is crafted armor, Weermail Coif, or however you say that, helmet, and Weermail doublet. You can craft them from there. It is kind of a second master blacksmith set, and it is level 15. It has increased stats. And it's really nice, so I using that. If you don't have access to that yet, that's okay. I mean, you can, as you level up, you can use the crafted gear from this and craft your way up to the highest level, which is fine. Now let's move on to the weapon choices first, and I will start with the offhand, and it is a throwing hatchet. And as you see, guys, this is a strength based weapon, meaning that it is going to deal the damage proportional to the character's strength. And this build and the rangers are dexterity based, not strength based. So you might ask, why do we need the X when clearly it is going to deal a few amounts of damage? And the reason is that it is giving us a passive bonus of critical damage 20%. And remember, guys, our goal is to deal as much amount of damage in a single strike, with the frenzy specifically, so we are able to destroy enemies in a single shot. So therefore this is absolutely necessary to have on you. It is going to increase the critical damage. And as you see, we have really nice 91%, and it is really fantastic. Now let's move on to the actual weapon itself, and it is a beast's dagger. And yes, this weapon is crafted one. Let me explain the reasoning behind why I'm using it, and then I'll give you variations in a later section. So first of all, you can craft this yourself from there. There is a beast blacksmith weapon set, and you can craft the dagger. You just need ingredients for it. Now, why are we crafting that dagger specifically? Not because of its properties, but because of the other things and other mechanics in the game. First, it is level 15, which means that by default it has high dexterity, and increasing dexterity is going to increase our damage overall. So that's what we are trying to do. But because it is a crafted weapon, we have there is a perk there. Let me see there. Yes, Art of the Forge. Yes, forged weapons have their stats increased by 10%. Now that's because it is crafted. It is going to have already increased amount of stats. And another reason is that because it's a legendary that we have crafted, it is upgradable, so we can upgrade it to level 16, and as you see, it is increasing dexterity by quite an insane amount. It's 151, and even if you find some other legendary gear, it will not be as good because we have this trait there, Art of Forge. So this is giving us as much dexterity as possible, and that's the only reason I'm using this. Now, drawback of that is that you need to have a beast DLC, and you have to destroy the beast to be able to actually unlock this weapon, the beast weapon. But I will show you in the build variations what are the good alternatives there, so you guys can use that weapon before you get to the final state. So that's how the equipment looks. And now let's look at the layers and stuff. So first, really important thing here is the Pirate's Lucky Charm, which is increasing our critical damage every time we land a critical hit. And we land a critical hit all the time, and because of the instinctive throw, we are just throwing the knives and dealing damage, and this is really giving us the ability to increase our damage as battle moves on, as battle progresses further. So we are becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, and eventually we are able to just one-shot the enemies with frenzy. And that's why it is so important there. So with that and then the food buff, I'll show you, we're kind of building momentum there. As for the armor layers, I have 3 times Mir's Brush, which is just increasing critical hit and it is reducing the movement. There is a better version of that from the Skelmer DLC, which is just decreasing the guard. I simply don't have this available yet in this gameplay, and that's why I'm using this. So if you have it, go for it, use that. It is increasing critical hit by 15%, so it's also really nice. As for the oils, we want to have the Brave Soil and Brave Soil Concentrate, because this build is going to consume a lots of Valor, and if we are not able to replenish that, then we will not be able to destroy entire enemy squads, because we will run out of the Valor points. So that's why we need the Brave's oil. It is absolutely necessary. And another oil is a perforating oil. Why do we need this? Because we want to, remember guys, we want to one-shot enemies, and we don't have a time to just do all the other stuff. We are limited in the skills that we can use for the attacks. And if we want to reuse this, we need to one-shot them. So we need to be able to reduce, just ignore the enemy's guard, and 50% of that is really great, especially against the heavy targets that have like guard of 50% or so on, and all the medium guys have also some like 20 or 25 guards. So reducing that again is helping us to increase our damage dealing potential. Yeah, that's it with the gear itself. As for the profession, we want to have a tinker. That is simply because I want us to go for the critical hit and use that, increase the critical hit chance. Yeah, that's it with this screen. You know, that's how our gear looks, our stat looks. And now we can check the actual skills where these powerful abilities come from. First of all, we need to have a valorous victory, simply because when we use the frenzy, we are going to spend 2 valor points. So one will be restored by using the Brave's oil, and the second one will be returned because we kill the enemy with a single shot. And yeah, at level 3, of course, we pick the Cutthroat. That's the name of the build. And once we upgrade this, we are able to reuse this skill within the same round if we do the fatal blow, i.e. we kill the enemy with a single strike with that skill. Also remember guys that all skills need to be upgraded, otherwise build will be suboptimal. At level 5 we go for instinctive throw. This is absolutely necessary, especially for the Cutthroat, because we have to kind of move from target to target, and it resets the movement and it does the extra hits, and it is really the key point in building our momentum when we bounce around the enemies. At level 8 we use the low blow simply because we want to have some skill to trigger the instinctive throw, and having that is nice. It costs 1 valor point instead of explosive gas, which costs 2 valor point. So that's the choice there. At level 10 we are using Unstoppable. We don't have a skill that we can manually trigger, so then it can trigger the instinctive throw, so Unstoppable is nice. I think it's better than the other two for this build, especially considering that this build has to kind of move through the enemy ranks and just move around a lot and go through the tight gaps and so on. So that's absolutely necessary. Then at level 12 we are going to go for the Deadly Contract, which is another super important thing for this build, to apply fragility on specific enemies, and then again it will increase our damage potential towards that enemy, and it kind of really nicely ties things up. So also please consider that the regular version of that without the upgrade just does not work. Maybe it's bug or something, but once you upgrade this it is applying 2 enemies, and so then the fragility bounces off to different enemies. So all this will really help us to destroy the entire enemy squads. And at level 15 we do nothing, we just pick the aptitude point and increase critical hit. So yeah guys, this is how these skills look. As you see, the main idea behind this build is to channel as much damage in a single shot as possible, with frenzy specifically, and we are kind of building initially our build to be as powerful as possible, but also the crucial part is that during the battle we want to build the momentum, we want to be aggressive, we want to pick the right target to eliminate them and get those extra damage buffs, so we can just delete the entire squad. So that's how the build looks in its details. Now let's talk about the food buffs that is absolutely necessary for this build, and we of course talk about the specialties, which is lake fish dish, which is giving us one rage every time we perform the attack, and we perform lots of attacks with instinctive throw, and accumulating rage stacks is really absolutely necessary. And we The way we get this is through tavern. Once you have the taverns, you can go there and you can assign this food to one of your chefs there, and once you rest, they will prepare one for the tavern and the other another for you. So then we have this food buff, and it combines really nicely with Pirate's Lucky Charm. So not only we do increase the critical damage by 5%, but we also increase our damage by 5% by accumulating rage stacks. And that's because this food is free. We don't have to worry about this. Once we have a recipe and set this up tavern, then we are kind of free, and that's why I always include this in my gameplays. So that's the only food buff that we use for this build specifically. Now of course you can use other foods, and I will talk about them in a build variations and how you can improve the build based on certain gear and so on. So yeah, that's it with the food. Now let's talk about the build variations and different things that you can tweak and use when you guys level up to get the similar results. First of all, I know that this is a legendary dagger. It's really difficult to get, even though it's crafted, because you need the Beast DLC, and then you need to defeat the Beast to get the necessary ingredients or materials for that dagger. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to go for it. But I've still included this because it's still crafted one, and in a way it's easier to get than to chase some specific thing, and it has really highest potential to get the highest dexterity from the daggers, if I'm not mistaken. So, because I don't know exactly, I don't remember all the legendary daggers, but I think that one is the best in terms of dexterity. Now, if you, let's say you don't have this, right, then there is a good alternative, because the guys from Shiro Games updated the game and they gave us the new set of armor and weapons, and this one specifically, second Master Blacksmith set, it is giving us the Bear Mail Dagger, which is level 15, and it can be upgraded to 3 stars. And it will give us still a nice buff, nice dexterity there after we craft this. It will also have stats increased by 10%, so you can use that. Now if you are not at level 15, then of course you can use any crafted version that you have, or whatever you come up with there, but the point is that you can use different dagger, or if you have another legendary dagger that you come up with, maybe you can upgrade this and use that to just gain dexterity. Let's say, I mean, with the armor, it's like a crafted one. There is nothing special there. But if you can come up with something that is dropped, that is increasing critical damage or some damage, I think I remember that there are certain armors that increase critical damage. That will be really nice to increase that. As for the hatchet, it is a throwing one. Now it is a really high level throwing hatchet, and it can be quite expensive to craft. It requires different materials and so on. So as with the beast dagger there, um, it has like a beast bones and stuff, and this throwing hatchet needs a vermeil, which is ingredient crafted there in alchemy, like the Akkadian steel, but it requires like this tanberg, this material which you acquire through woodcutter. Master woodcutter can acquire this, and then you need the play grid and samples. So having these throwing weapon can be expensive if you're throwing this a lot. But if so, I have two suggestions there. First of all, if you don't have this, as you level up, use other crafted ones. But if you're short on materials, then just don't throw this. Just have it, just hold this, so you can get the critical damage buff as a passive bonus. You don't have to throw this, especially it is not dealing a lot of damage. And if you are feeling kind of risky and you have a lot of resources to craft them often, then go ahead. It will just trigger another instinctive throw, and it will help you gain momentum faster during the battles. Also, if you play your cards right and you're a bit lucky, then you will only need this once in a battle because you'll be able to destroy entire squads. Or if you see the situation where you don't need this, or you see that it can be lost, just don't throw this, okay? As for the armor layers, I've said before, another variation which is better than this because it doesn't reduce movement is from Skelmer DLC, where you acquire it through the Ghost Hunter camps, trackers camp, and they give you this. You can use that. Apart from that, I mean, I don't think there are any other good options. We really need to have a critical hit chance 100% of the time without foods and stuff. So that's our goal. As for the oils, again, I don't have a good alternatives there. We really need to have the Braves oil to kind of keep the Valor points, so we can spam the frenzy and destroy the enemies. Otherwise, we will run out of Valor points really quickly. And perforating oil is really necessary to just ignore the enemy's guard. If you are feeling a bit risky, or maybe you are on a lower levels, then what you can do is that if you're not able to kill the entire squads anyway, you may increase the damage by applying the sharpening oil, which is increasing critical damage. And as the belt accessory, you can use the crafted accessory here, which is lead belt, which is increasing critical damage by 15%, which is really nice. Or you can just use the pocket knife if you come across that loot, and use that on a kind of a lower levels before you acquire this, so you deal more damage and kill more enemies. And yeah, for the helmet stamp, I think Pirate's Lucky Charm is just super S tier for that, or any really crit based damage dealing build that is just doing a lot of attacks. Another one being a gunner and pugilist, where you just use a thrashing to just deal tons of damage. So yeah, that's really nice. I don't have any other good suggestions. Like maybe if you don't have this, you can use the stimulated coating, which is increasing damage by 20%, but then again it is super powerful. I mean, with that we will increase our damage potential infinitely, as long as there are enemies and we just hit them. Yeah, I think and as for the armor, just craft whatever you have, or grab something as you loot with the crit damage increase stat or some other stat. So you guys get the idea, right? The core idea is that we want to deal as much damage as possible, so we can one-shot enemies with frenzy, so then we can reuse that skill. As for the foods, if you are on lower levels and you are not lazy like me, then you can use stuffed cabbage to increase the critical hit if you are not 100% yet. And then another good one is, where is this? Yeah, it's beer infused wolf ribs. Yeah, it is increasing critical damage by 20%. And if we have a master cook in our camp, and when we craft this, we might get the delicious version of that, and it will increase critical damage by 25%. So on a lower levels, and if you are in a suboptimal position, you can use these food buffs to additionally increase the damage potential of this build. So I think that's it with the build variations. It's really tricky to make this build work, not only in terms of the gear and the stats and everything, but also you have to be really careful by selecting your targets and maneuvering around the enemies and using your skills wisely. So it requires a bit more skill and effort to make this work. But as you have seen from the results, it's absolutely fantastic. So let's finish this build guide. I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Previously, I was not able to create this build because we didn't have the legendary gear or level 15 gear, and it was not really easy to replicate that. You needed some custom equipment and so on. That's why I never made a build guide about this previously, but as you see, it is absolutely fantastic build, extremely powerful, and I think it's one of the best damage dealers in terms of the basic builds. I mean, it's not basic, but in terms of the builds that use crafted gear and are easily accessible. I'm not talking about some insane cheesy builds where you exploit certain legendary weapons and stuff where you just break the game. I will make these guides as well. I have a couple of builds right there in this squad that are like this. But in terms of the basic builds, it's absolutely fantastic and almost game breaking. But be careful, guys. You have seen that I have managed to destroy the entire squad, but that is not always possible. If you come across with the heavy armored enemies like Brotherhood, they have lots of heavy armored enemies, or legionaries, it may be difficult to pull this off if you're not lucky, or just you get bad positioning and so on. So even though it may seem OP, it's not really. It's really satisfying. You have to be engaged and just maneuver around the enemies and choose targets wisely and so on. So in that sense, it kind of balances things out. And last but not least, I want to compare it to the assassin build that I have shown you guys before. These two builds are kind of the two sides of the same coin. Obviously, the Cutthroat is better in the regular battles where you can just delete the entire squads, but it is not powerful, or not as powerful with the bosses. For example, with the assassin, we have the potential to absolutely destroy any boss within a single turn, no matter their health and their guard and armor and so on. And that's why in that regard is assassin better. So if you have Cutthroat and assassin in the same team, you have like almost all battle scenarios covered. You can deal with bosses, you can just destroy squads, and yeah, it's they kind of complement each other, and you should guys check that build as well. It is absolutely fantastic. So I think that's it with the build. I think it's quite interesting, very satisfying. To be honest, I enjoyed playing with that, and yeah, if you like content like this, check out my other guides. I have also some videos of my gameplay. And yeah, I will leave you on that note. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends.